From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
You're watching India Global. Operation Sindoor has been launched by India. The next 60 minutes, we focus on how India got this right and what is it that we should now be prepared for, and the diplomatic moves New Delhi has been making all along. But first up, as always, the headlines. Operation Sindoor, India avenges the Pahalgam bloodshed. India strikes back, targets 9 Pakistan terror factories. India briefs the UNSC members on Operation Sindoor. National Security Advisor speaks to his counterparts in the US on the operation. India assures the world that there is no intent to escalate, but it will react and retaliate depending on what Pakistan does. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh lauds Operation Sindoor, says history has been scripted by India's armed forces. Prime Minister Modi cancels his 3-nation visit to Europe. It postpones the foreign trips to Norway, Croatia and Netherlands in the wake of latest developments in India. Nationwide mock drills across 244 districts. India avenges the Pahalgam terror attack, prepares and plans for it with its citizenry. Viewers, India has struck back. Operation Sindoor took place 25 minutes in which it avenged the Pahalgam terror attack on the 22nd of April that took away 26 lives. Before we go any further, I want to start this show by first playing out the soundbite of Defense Minister Rajnath Singh. Listen in.
जैसे कि आप सबको जानकारी है कि कल रात हमारी भारतीय सेनाओं ने अपने अद्भुत शौर्य और पराक्रम का परिचय देते हुए एक नया इतिहास रच दिया है। तो हम कह सकते हैं एक तरीके की सटीकता, सतर्कता और मानवीयता यह हमारी भारत की सेना के जवानों ने दिखाई है, जिसके लिए मैं हमारे सेना के जवानों और अधिकारियों को पूरे देश की ओर से मैं साधुवाद देता हूं। हमने केवल उन्हीं को मारा जिन्होंने हमारे मासूमों को मारा। हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी के मार्गदर्शन में हमारे भारत की सेना ने हम सभी भारतवासियों का मस्तक ऊंचा किया है।
In the early hours of May 7th, India launched Operation Sindoor, a high-precision military strike targeting the terror infrastructure deep inside Pakistan-Occupied Kashmir. Operation Sindoor, 25 minutes, 24 missiles, 9 strategic locations. From Muzaffarabad to Bahawalpur, India struck key hubs long believed to be harboring the Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed terror operatives. Based on clear, credible intel, India took action, and in fact over 70 terrorists were killed, including high-ranking field commanders. 60 terrorists were injured. These, viewers, were not random strikes. They were surgical demolitions of camps, depots and recruitment bases. In Bahawalpur, a known ideological training compound was flattened. In Neelam Valley, command nodes were dismantled, all with precision munitions, minimizing collateral damage either to civilians or to military installations. Perhaps the most explosive part was Pakistani Army's complicity. India presented evidence that Pakistani military elements, particularly the ISI, provided logistics, training, safe havens to these terror groups. Some camps operated within eyesight of Pakistani army cantonments. And the international community has responded swiftly. Many, like Israel and Japan, acknowledge India's right to self-defense. After years of provocation, others, including the UN, US and EU, urged restraint. Meanwhile, the line of control remains tense. Heavy firing from the Pakistani side have ensured that not only the area remains tense, but on the Indian side, there have been casualties because of Pakistan's incessant violation of the ceasefire at LOC. Operation Sindoor, viewers, wasn't just about retaliation. It was in fact a doctrine shift, a message that terrorism will no longer go unanswered and that those who shield it will face the consequences. The world watches. India has drawn a bold red line across the map, which may very well define the next chapter of Indo-Pak relations and how India is now going to have a completely new and revamped way of addressing terror emanating from the Pakistani side. Lieutenant General Atta Hasnain, former GOC of 15 Corps, joins me to talk more on this. Sir, thank you so much for speaking to me on India Global. Let me start by asking you, sir, in your assessment, has India achieved its objectives that it started out with, which Operation Sindoor was launched?
Absolutely, Gaurie. The fact that we took our time, 14 days, but before delivering the military option, the Cabinet Committee for Security had already undertaken certain operations in the economic and other domains, which have played out very well. It gave a window of opportunity for the armed forces to prepare themselves, seek their targets, wargame their complete options, which they did. And subsequently, with a very effective deception plan, may I say, I think they took the Pakistan side completely by surprise. The fact that this time, after 6 years, the last strike was in 2019, Balakot, Jabba Top. After 6 years, they, instead of targeting one particular facility of the terrorists, that was in that case Jabba Top, this time they decided to go for 9, which is an exponential increase. And that itself was a strategic move to send home the message that we have the will, the capability, the technology to deliver and achieve what we wish in the context of these operations.
What about the expectation now that what will be Pakistan's response and what is it that we should now be prepared for?
See, Gaurie, already Pakistan's response has come in the form of a frustrated kind of a response which has taken place at the line of control ever since last night. I think even within half an hour of the strikes at the 9 locations, the shelling, which have rather the exchange of fire so far on the line of control, which had been restricted to small arms and flat trajectory weapons, has now risen to the level of artillery guns. And that is why we have suffered some heavy casualties on our side, because we do not ever target Pakistani villages on the other side. But here, Pakistan has deliberately chosen to target many of our civilian areas to try and force us to stop the exchange of fire with them. I'm sure in due course, all that will change. But what is more dangerous is unlikely that Pakistan will choose to escalate this further through the conventional mode. They will seek some kind of a face-saving methodology, like launching a couple of maybe some bombings or somewhere in an inconsequential area, which will not really have any strategic impact. But that will be sufficient for them as a face-saver. But what we have to be careful about is the possibility in the future, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months down the line, of another sub-convention. And that is what we have to be always concerned about, because Pakistan has got the Lashkar-e-Taiba, the Jaish-e-Mohammed, the deep state, and with the chiefs such as Asim Munir at the moment, anything of this kind is possible. The irrational acts that we have always sort of flagged Pakistan for is something which can become a reality. So we should be prepared for that. But Pakistan should also get the message very clearly that we have hit 9 objectives this time. This can go up exponentially.
Do you expect Pakistan to escalate this as someone who understands not just the region, but also the mindset of the enemy better than many?
See, Gaurie, when you rationally look at anything in military option, obviously Pakistan's capability is very restricted in terms of conventional. And they don't have the economy to back it either. A conventional can spiral off into a conventional conflict which is completely out of control. And that is something I'm sure that they would not want because it is unwinnable for them. So they will restrict themselves purely to the sub-conventional in which they have an advantage because they have the terrorists in their hands at the moment. We will have to continue our counterinsurgency and counter-terrorist operations as effectively. In fact, I would warn the whole of Northern Command that they should be completely prepared for a high-density infiltration season in the coming months.
That's a very important point you're making, sir, that we need to be very careful about more infiltration attempts by Pakistan going forward. Then let me ask you this in terms of, yes, from Pakistan's point of view, there are a couple of options that they would like to explore. But the message that India is sending is loud and clear. How do you now see Pakistan receiving this message, given the fact that it has limited options on the table? And also the larger objective, what I asked you at the beginning in terms of our message towards no tolerance when it comes to terrorism attacks against us. How do you see that being received?
Very important question that you asked. Let's look at it differently. There's no doubt the fact that 9 objectives have been targeted, and this can go up to a larger number as we go along in the future. We have the wherewithal. We have acquired this technology in 2020, post the last Balakot attack which had taken place. A very important observation which I have is that you take the example of 3 of these strikes which have taken place in Punjab: Bahawalpur, Muridke and Sialkot. All 3 locations of the terrorist camps and terrorist facilities are near a major Pakistani formation headquarters. The facility in Bahawalpur, I am aware, is just about 8 to 10 kilometers from the Pakistan 31 Corps headquarters. In Sialkot, you also have a headquarters there which is nearly co-located, and Muridke is about 40 kilometers from Lahore, where the headquarters 4 Corps of the Pakistan Army exists. Obviously, India does not need much to tweak the capability to hit any of these headquarters if the need arises. And Pakistan should be fully aware of this, and this should be a clear message to them. They may have a thought that all this while India may not wish to strike conventionally, but now, when the temperatures have gone up to such an extent and Pakistan's behavior in terms of sub-conventional operations is concerned seems to show no difference and no change, obviously they should expect that if in the future there is such a strike again as what happened in Pahalgam, then the escalation ladder is entirely in the hands of India. The next rung could very well be the commencement of strikes on Pakistani conventional headquarters.
Absolutely, indeed. Thank you so much, General Haslan, for joining me on the broadcast to really decode this and simplify for us to understand what should be India's next steps and also how the Pakistanis are seeing this particular situation. Now, shifting focus from the military to the diplomatic aspect, when we talk about Operation Sindoor, how India's diplomatic moves have been coming along as it's been ensuring that the Committee of Nations around the world understands the threats that India faces from Pakistan, the terrorism threats that it continues to face, the attacks that it has borne so far, and what it is wanting to now address. In fact, it has briefed, New Delhi has briefed the permanent and non-permanent members of the United Nations Security Council on Operation Sindoor, envoys of the UNSC, excluding, of course, Pakistan and permanent member, were briefed on the details and objectives of Operation Sindoor, its recent counter-terror offensive, and representatives from the P5 along with 9 of the 10 non-permanent members were apprised of India's response to the Pahalgam terror attack, why it had to do what was necessary and how it was non-escalatory in nature and focused totally on the terror modules, not on the civilian infrastructure, nor on the military installations. To talk more about this, Ambassador Javed Ashraf, who joins me, he's a former ambassador of India to France, one of the P5 countries that India reached out to, explained its position and the diplomatic stance it has taken. Ambassador Ashraf, thank you so much for joining me on the show, and talk to us about these very important messaging that India has been doing to these countries. That also includes France, where President Macron has supported India when it comes to its fight against terrorism. Talk to us about these diplomatic moves that New Delhi has been making.
Well, I think first of all, there is always some element of concern when there is a military escalation in any region of the world. However, I think the world has understood the reasons for the action that we have taken. They have recognized that our approach has been in the realm of the right to defend and the right to respond, that we had also waited for 14 days for Pakistan to take some steps to show that it was not complicit in this terror attack and that it was doing something to stop it or to take punitive steps against those who were responsible for it. None of that has happened. Now, so I think our initial response that I see internationally, and I compare this to what I have seen from 1999 onwards in different terror attacks, this is much more positive and much higher level of understanding. But one of the reasons for this is that, in a sense, we've taken control of the process. We have preempted any international effort to sort of exercise restraint or prevent any military action from being taken by saying that we will exert pressure on Pakistan to take necessary steps in response to an attack. So once we have done this, we've explained that our effort was non-escalatory, it was measured, directed at specific targets. There would be an expectation that there will be no further escalation or prolongation of the conflict. And that would also mean that they would be putting pressure on Pakistan to avoid taking any major retaliatory steps, because those steps would really end up targeting Indian civilians or Indian military installations, and that would be an act of war. Whereas this was just a right to defend and a right to respond. And when that happens, you will see a major escalation in conflict, because we will also have to retaliate in that case. And then I do see some sort of international pressure building to de-escalate the situation and prevent or keep the war to a limited level. Then it comes to the next set of questions. Can the international community to do anything to extract a cost from Pakistan for the continuing support, sponsorship of terrorism?
I'm going to come to that, sir. Bear with me, sir. I'm going to come to that in just a bit, but I want to first talk about the immediate. When we are talking about the diplomatic pressure that the world is exerting on Pakistan, the UNSC meeting that it wanted to hold that did not yield a statement. In fact, reports seem to suggest that there was a lot of the members sought difficult questions and answers from Pakistan, and some even lectured it. Having said that, in the wake of that diplomatic disaster for Pakistan, these positive maneuvers that India has been making, moves it has been making, also the fact that the present Trump administration has backed India's ability to stand against Pakistan, and also how it needs to defend itself, hasn't it?
Yeah, I think all of that, what you're saying, is true. But really, I mean, what else could they have done? I mean, there is an act of terrorism against us, and it is a very, very brutal attack. It's very barbaric. I mean, I think it shook the conscience of everyone in the world. The countries had to, on a matter of principle, and in the context of in relations with India, had to take a stand of unequivocal solidarity and support for India. That is a diplomatic process, and that is a diplomatic success. The big question is, what does that translate into in terms of understanding for our action? As I said, yes, there is going to be a tacit international understanding. Sometimes fully express support for the steps that we have taken. And I think I always compare to where we were in the past, and I do see a very strong positive progress in the way the world understands our challenges and the way we are dealing with terrorism from Pakistan. So it is an important diplomatic win for us, but it is something that we will have to sustain on a day-to-day basis because there will be concerns.
How do we do that, sir? How do we do that? As the diplomat
Sorry?
dealing with this, how do we do that?
Well, I think at three levels, really. One is at the level of the government in each country that we are in. That's number one. Number two, at the level of the media in each of these countries, because media, as everywhere else, tends to be the most uncompromising in terms of understanding our position, and also in terms of peddling some sort of outdated narratives about India and Pakistan. Second. Third is to the larger political and think tank and policy influencing community around the world. And that's a very important step we'll take. But also, we will have to continue to ask very friendly countries to condition their further assistance and relationship with Pakistan, trade, investment, assistance, to some genuine steps that they take with regard to dismantling the terror infrastructure and ending this policy of supporting terrorism from India. I think that's the substantive part of the diplomacy, which, as you said, will unfold in the days to come. And then we will also be again approaching the UN Sanctions Committee, and more important, against FATF. Now, FATF strictures can be quite hard on a country, particularly an economically impoverished and emasculated country.
Ambassador Ashraf, I want to come and talk more about FATF. The fact that Pakistan was grey-listed, it came back out of it. There's now an IMF loan that it's set to get. I want to talk on that and more in terms of how the international pressure can ensure that Pakistan acts against these terror factories. But I have to take this small break. Stay with us, sir. These questions are important. It will help us decode what's our way forward. Stay with us.
Your brain really matters.
Don't miss Sharp's half-price spring savings. Get Sharp's bespoke fitted furniture for every room, from living spaces to home offices and bedrooms. Many ranges are now half price, including our must-have Manhattan range. Our exclusive Space Plus system means we won't be beaten on space. Plus, you get our 15-year guarantee for total peace of mind. Refresh your home with Sharp's this spring. Book your free home design visit today at sharps.co.uk.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, you're guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
Nothing beats a celebration. And at Tesco Mobile, we're ringing in 30 years of Club Card with deals like the Samsung Galaxy S25 Plus, with 25 gigs of data for just £43.99 a month with Club Card prices, saving you £270. Better yet, that price is frozen for the duration of your contract. And you can even bag a £30 Tesco gift card too. It pays to be connected. Search Tesco Mobile. Every little helps.
Ambassador Ashraf, on the point regarding FATF and IMF bailouts to Pakistan, 1.3 billion is now very quickly set to be disbursed further. How can we stop that? It's a terror state and this money goes to fund terror.
Yeah, I mean, you have a very important point. I mean, all assistance to Pakistan, though it is meant for civilian purposes, humanitarian assistance, in some sense releases economic pressure on the military and its capacity to both build up its conventional capacity and support terrorism network. So we will be definitely holding this to account in the IMF. But again, I mean, it is not going to be an easy exercise at this point of time. So we'll have to really make a very compelling case to withhold or to delay this assistance. As far as the FATF is concerned, it's a quasi-legal process of getting the country back on the grey list. It's a pretty serious process that goes through first the regional body, which is the APAC body, the Asia Pacific, and from there it will go to the main FATF.
Yes.
We will be building a very strong dossier on this. And on this group, and on the main important thing for us would
Yes.
be to establish the unequivocally the links with Pakistan state
Yes.
and its entire government structure, the military structure,
Yes.
and the absence of any credible steps it is taking in that direction.
Absolutely.
And then we'll have to negotiate this with all our key countries in order to get them back onto the grey list.
Absolutely.
Sometimes, and this is again going to be a test of our of the world's commitment
Yes.
for zero tolerance of terrorism, is whether competing geopolitical considerations and interests
Yes.
trump this issue, or they are willing to support us in putting Pakistan on the docks in the FATF.
All right, so we leave it there. The 27-member FATF did put Pakistan on the grey list multiple times, but Turkey and China helped it bail out a couple of years back. On that note, I'm slipping into a break. I come back on the other side, talk more about Operation Sindoor. What happened? What will be the next steps? Detailed ground reports from ground zero. You want to watch this? Stay with us. Our broadcast continues.
As a dad, I know life's unpredictable. It's all fun and games until it's not.
You okay?
I want my kids to always be looked after. That's why I'm not putting things off anymore and protecting the life we've built by calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
Okay, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
Brilliant.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And could help my wife pay off the mortgage.
With our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness. And 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free life insurance quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 6797 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news is here.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
Welcome back. You're watching our special broadcast of Operation Sindoor. What happened? Those 25 minutes in which India dismantled the terror infrastructure that Pakistan operates from Pakistan-occupied Kashmir as well as its own territory. Before we go any further, I want to play out this important soundbite by Wing Commander Yomika Singh to talk more and to explain in detail what was the rationale for choosing those specific terror modules and how India went about it. And along with that, a very clear message to Pakistan. Any misadventure and India will respond. Listen in.
Through precision capability, as shown to you, a niche technology weapons with careful selection of warheads was ensured so that there will be no collateral damage. The point of impact in each of the target was a specific building or a group of buildings. All the targets were neutralized with clinical efficiency, and the results reiterate the professionalism of the Indian Armed Forces in the planning and execution of their operations. No military establishments were targeted. India has demonstrated considerable restraint in its response. However, it must be said that the Indian Armed Forces are fully prepared to respond to Pakistani misadventures, if any.
Nazir Masoodi joins me live from Kupwara to talk more and explain in detail what really is the situation right now on ground. Nazir, talk to us about what it's like on ground. The situation is tense. There is heavy firing coming in from the Pakistani side, violating the ceasefire on multiple occasions. At least in the last 12 hours, they've been doing so several times. Explain to us and talk to us what it's like on ground.
Well, there's some problem in the audio to hear your question, but clearly what is happening since last night has been the horrible experience for the people living near the line of control. There's a sense of disquiet in across Kashmir, and people don't know what exactly is happening because those who are living near the borders have been bearing the brunt of the violence, the shelling, when innocent civilians are being targeted. Particularly the Poonch district headquarters has borne the brunt of the Pakistani shelling when the civilians, including children, have been targeted. Large number of houses have been destroyed in Tangdar, Karna sector in Kupwara here. So there are large number of houses and the business shops have been completely destroyed. Fortunately, there has not been any report of casualty in Tangdar. In Uri, 4 people have been injured in Pakistani shelling and several houses have been destroyed. So it is something which started. It was known something is going to happen after innocent people were killed in terrorist attack on April 22nd. Since then, India has vowed to take revenge and carry out a military strike, as India carried out military strike at terror sites, including Bahawalpur, which has been known for the headquarters of Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Maulana Masood Azhar. And he, in a statement which has been attributed to him, is saying 10 members of his family have been killed in the strike. So clearly, India has hit where it hurts the most. India has hit very hard. Not only Bahawalpur, but also the Muridke. Muridke is the headquarters of Lashkar-e-Taiba, and also earlier it used to be Jamiatul Dawat Irshad. Then it was named, it was Lashkar-e's offshoot of that. Then if you talk about the Kotli and the Muzaffarabad in POK, where you had the militant centers and the training centers, indoctrination centers, they all have been targeted in coordinated missile strikes by army in most unprecedented strikes against Pakistan since 1971 war. So India has sent a message very loud and clear. If you carry out this attacks, this abetting terrorism here in Jammu and Kashmir, you will have it, you will face it. But clearly, Indian Air Force has also suffered some damage. Aircrafts have been damaged. There has been loss of some aircrafts as well. We're waiting for the official confirmation what type of
Nazir, there is no official word on that as yet. So we will wait for that to come out. But I want to then also understand from you that on ground, given the fact that India is on high alert, preparing for any misadventure that may come in from Pakistan, if at all, talk to us about the preparation, the situation right now, on ground right now, after Operation Sindoor.
Well, today the Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Umar Abdullah had emergency meeting with the district magistrates or deputy commissioners. So did the J&K Lieutenant Governor Manoj Sinha. Both have the common, cause that to ensure that the relief reached to the people, those who have suffered, and also ensure that the people are taken to safety, because there's a fear that Pakistan may hit back, they may carry out strikes, particularly the, artillery shelling which we have seen. In the border areas, that is the worst thing that has happened. It has actually made so many people homeless, so many people lost their lives and limbs also. So it is a situation where you have to ensure that the civilians are saved. Many people have been taken to the community shelters, and their arrangement for their food and shelter is being made. So it is an exigency, it is a situation, emergency situation. The J&K administration and the LG government is trying to deal with. Central government has already spoken to the J&K administration as well, because the priority is to ensure that the safety of civilians. In many areas I have seen, like in Arispora, people just packing their belongings, whatever they could, and fleeing from their homes to save their lives from Pakistan's artillery shelling.
Absolutely. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks, Matt, for breaking that down for us to tell our viewers, Nazir, what really is happening on ground. Now, the fact is that these were precision strikes. They ensured maximum damage to the enemy, but exactly where India wanted. Not to the civilian infrastructure, not to the military installations. How did that happen? Because of the weaponry that was used by the Indian forces. The success lies there as well. And Arjun Samar Mahindran breaks that down for us, tells us in detail what exactly was the weaponry used and why it was used, and that's how the success was what it was. Take a look.
Well, India has utilized a suite of high-precision, long-range strike weapons in the operation. Among these were the Scalp cruise missiles, the Hammer precision bombs, and of course, the loitering munitions, also known as the kamikaze drones. Now, the Scalp or the Storm Shadow missile, it's a long-range air-launched cruise missile with a range extending 250 kilometers, and it's specifically designed for deep strike capabilities. Now, coming on to the Hammer or the highly agile modular munition extended range. The Hammer smart bomb was used to strike hardened infrastructure. Now, this also includes infrastructure which is reinforced and multi-story buildings which have been used by terror outfits like the Lashkar-e-Taiba and the LET in the past in Pakistan. It has a range of around 50 to 70 kilometers depending on what altitude it's actually launched from. And finally, the loitering munitions, also known as the kamikaze drones. Now, these loitering munitions were deployed for surveillance, target acquisition, and terminal strike roles. These drone systems hover over targets and either autonomously or under remote control identify and eliminate threats.
Ambassador Sajjan Har and Lieutenant General Raj Shukla joined me on the broadcast to decode this in greater detail. To understand what should be the next course of action, should we be preparing for a possible Pakistani misadventure, and what is our roadmap when it comes to our objectives with regard to fighting against terror. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me on the broadcast. And General Shukla, let me start with you, sir. It's been about 12 to 14 hours since India struck the terror modules. I want to understand from you, sir, going forward, as someone who's done this planning at a military level, at the precise level, explain to us what is the kind of roadmap that India has now prepared for itself, or should be preparing from a military point of view and also from a anticipation point of view going forward.
So thanks, Gaurie. As I've been thinking over these 12 hours, the thoughts of our super cop KPS Gill come to my mind. Many years back, he said that you will win the war on terror not by running after the terrorists, but by overwhelming the adversary. I think this, in our whole battle in this war of terror, this is a seminal moment. We spent years running after the adversary, and finally we've come to running after the terrorists, and finally we've come to grips with the adversary. Now, as you said, so far what has happened, round one, I think it's been a phenomenal success. Since the losses are not clearly out, I would rate it as high as 8 on 10, 9 on 10. But the fact is that it may be early days because the response and retaliation is yet to follow. But what is really striking is two things. You know, I've been talking for a while about the unfolding of this calibrated military kinetics. In fact, we had a conversation on that. And there I see some brilliant alchemy of India's power and purpose. I'll tell you why. In the whole politico-military orchestration of this, we saw great synergy between the political leadership and the military. I've been into many of these operations in the past. That was lacking. You know, the symbolism of this mission Sindhur, it shows Indian resolve to avenge the loss and grief of our brides. And in so far as the whole strategic military enterprise has, you know, executed this strike,
yes,
I think the strike package was brilliant. And let me tell you 2-3 reasons why. In choosing the target array, we have enlarged it from POK down to South Punjab, from Muzaffarabad to Bahawalpur. Last time around Operation Swift Retort, I was the co-commander in Bhatinda. Bahawalpur is right opposite. General Rawat was in my headquarters when we were planning, you know, a strike on Bahawalpur. We didn't get to it. But this time, as your anchor was explaining, you know, getting the human right, space int right, the synchrony between the sensors and the shooters, the loitering munitions, long-range precision, scalp, hammer, getting all this together, you know, in the space of 25 minutes, any professional military will concede is a huge ask.
Phenomenal,
and I think
indeed.
So far, the execution has been really brilliant. And whatever happened to Pakistan's famed air defense?
Indeed.
Where were the HQ-9s and the Fizaya?
Absolutely,
and let me also
absolutely.
tell you just one more quick point. You know, in our targeting, we have left a message. We have said that we have struck the terror ecosystem. We have not yet gone to the military targets. The escalatory dominance is us. We suggest that you don't respond, but if you do, we are prepared. So as I said, round 1 to us, I would rate it 9 on 10, if not 10 on 10. I don't know what ambassadors...
I'm going to ask him just that Ambassador Sajjanar, as General Shukla is saying that this is round 1, what should be our diplomatic, non-military roadmap if this were to have a round 2?
Yeah, thank you very much, Gaurie. And, you know, if there's going to be round 2, of course, we need to be prepared militarily, which I'm certain we are because, you know, if you look at how things are unfolding, if we had expected that nothing would happen beyond this, you know, the Prime Minister who's supposed to travel to Norway, Croatia, and Netherlands from the 13th to the 17th, he would not have cancelled those visits. And, you know, those are still a week away from now. Today is the 7th and 13th is, you know, good 6-7 days, which means as far as political leadership is concerned, it is not complacent at all. It is quite prepared for what might come its way. So I think militarily and politically, we are, you know, psychologically, we are quite prepared that this was Sindoor Operation 1 and Sindoor Operation 2 is in the wings, and we are ready for it as and when the time arrives. Now, to come to your question in terms of diplomatically, and I think this is the narrative that we have to create. I think our narrative is pretty strong, Gaurie, if I may say that, because if you look at it, you know, very recent examples, I think going back also as far as Pakistan is concerned, its credibility is, you know, very depleted. There's hardly anyone who would trust. You look at, you know, what it was doing during the, you know, supporting and helping the Taliban against the NATO and the American forces, how Osama bin Laden was found there as far as its, you know, footprints and track record on 26/11. So, you know, all of it going back. You know, Pakistan's credibility is seriously diminished, you know, across the world.
But you know, this is not just about Pakistan's credibility or the lack of it. The fact is there are geopolitical factors in which India operates in which all of us operate in, and that is dynamic in nature. And General Shukla, that's the other thing I want to ask you, which is that India's neighborhood is also tense. Till now, the reactions that have come in from the diplomatic community, the international community, one needs to see them, and then one also needs to see the message that has come in from China. How do we read that equation, that possibility, in terms of, if at all, there is a round two?
So, I think Ambassador Sajjanar is a better person to talk about the diplomatic space. But my reading of the diplomatic space tells us that the Americans are largely with us, so are the Russians, so is Israel. And given the success
militarily as well, sir. Militarily as well.
Military. Okay, so militarily, let me tell you, what are the three messages that we have sent out in my view? We have re-established deterrence. We have told the Pakistanis and the world that this business of using terror as a tool of statecraft will not work. May I also point out that it may be a seminal moment for our statecraft. Look at our strategic evolution. 26/11, how did we respond? I was a brigadier or a colonel when Kaluchak happened, when we were mobilized and we were hit, our families were hit and we didn't respond. That gave the impression of a soft state. That has come around a full circle. And the clear message is now to Pakistan especially, and the world by way of byproduct, that please don't mess with us. We are now a power which is coming of age. Of course, that should not be grounded in hubris.
Yes.
There is a lot of long road to be traveled. But, from that mid-career position when we were hit and our response was pathetic,
yes.
I think it's a very proud moment today when
absolutely.
In the manner in which we've hit across.
Absolutely. Ambassador Sajjanar, quickly, sir, you want to come in there in terms of the China factor?
Let me take on from where, what I was saying last time. As far as, I said Pakistan's credibility is diminished. But in the reverse order, as far as India's credibility in the world, that is very huge. And I think geopolitical interests and geopolitical considerations of different countries will make them come with India. As far as China is concerned, it has expressed regret. It will, I don't think it is, it might help Pakistan with intelligence. It might help Pakistan with military hardware or whatever it is. But I don't think it can go beyond that in any way. And none of the other countries can also go beyond that in any way. I think we have, by and large, as far as the world is concerned, it feels that, terrorism, we should, there should be zero tolerance to terrorism.
Yes.
And whatever India is doing, it is doing to protect its own interests. The world will slowly, gradually, all the major powers, of course, will come to it. And what I was mentioning also is, as far as the UN Security Council is concerned,
absolutely,
where Pakistan would have gone with high hopes that it will be able to get some strictures.
It was a diplomatic disaster for them.
Its hope was not realized, yes.
Absolutely.
So I think the world is with us on that, both politically and geopolitically.
Absolutely.
And we need to use that advantage to our benefit in terms of reaching out to the international community to put pressure on Pakistan, go to the FATF, go to the IMF as we are planning to do.
Absolutely.
To have much greater pressure on Pakistan today.
All right, I'm going to leave it there, gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining me on this edition of India Global. I'm going to slip into a break, come back on the other side to give you, in fact, we'll play out this ground report from line of control where Pakistan has been firing incessantly, jeopardizing civilian lives on the Indian side. Stay with us, we're going to play out that exclusive report.
For such gentle souls, working donkeys in the Middle East lead terribly hard lives. For such trusting animals, donkeys are too often abused and exploited. These sensitive, loyal animals often suffer the cruelest pain. This is the hard, painful life that donkeys in Egypt, the West Bank, Israel, and Gaza have to endure. Too often, it's not only a hard life, it is also a short one. But there is something you can do to make their hard lives much easier. Please call Safe Haven for Donkeys on 0800 144 5802 or go online and give a life-saving gift of just £2 a month. Safe Haven for Donkeys is dedicated to transforming lives in the region. Your gift means our mobile vet clinics can provide emergency treatment for injured donkeys. We heal wounds and ensure donkeys aren't suffering. We also work with local communities, helping them to look after and cherish their donkeys. You'll help make sure there's always a place at our sanctuaries for abandoned and abused donkeys who have nowhere else to turn. Please call 0800 144 5802, text SAFE4 to 84902, go online or scan the QR code and give just £2 a month and help change a donkey's life today.
Don't miss Sharp's half-price spring savings. Get Sharp's bespoke fitted furniture for every room, from living spaces to home offices and bedrooms. Many ranges are now half-price, including our must-have Manhattan range. Our exclusive Space Plus system means we won't be beaten on space. Plus, you get our 15-year guarantee for total peace of mind. Refresh your home with Sharps this spring. Book your free home design visit today at sharps.co.uk.
When I woke up, they said, Alyssa, you've got leukemia. We found out that the chemo wasn't working.
Cancer is still the biggest killer of children in the UK, but innovative new treatments could help beat cancer for more children like Alyssa.
I'm cancer-free now.
Text, call or search to give £3 a month and help build a new children's cancer centre at Great Ormond Street Hospital. So together, we can save more lives.
What are you so happy about?
I've just made a claim. We could be owed thousands.
My claim group?
Yeah, the cars we bought on finance, well, the lenders could have charged hidden commissions. It's dead simple to claim.
Hey, I had 2 cars before we met.
Go to My Claim Group. You could be owed thousands in hidden commissions from cars you bought on finance since 2007, even if you can't remember the details.
Done.
Simple, eh?
Go to My Claim Group now.
Claims made simple.
Viewers, India avenged the Pahalgam terror attack after it unleashed the Operation Sindoor on Pakistan's terror factories. India needs to continue this on 3 factors and 3 planes to ensure that Pakistan acts against terror. One is the surgical strikes, the military precise action that it has taken. Second is the diplomatic maneuvers and moves it has been making, ensuring that Pakistan stands isolated and exposed. And the third equally important aspect is the economic lifelines that keep coming via IMF and World Bank to Pakistan. The $1.3 billion loan should stop to Pakistan because these loans, this money goes to fund terror. Remember, USSR, when it is disintegrated into 15 countries, it didn't happen because of just military role. The economic disaster was the reason why USSR disintegrated. And for Pakistan, I'm not talking about disintegration, I'm talking about the economic factors that will ensure that the terror factories stop is going to be a very important aspect that New Delhi needs to doggedly pursue. And now I'm going to play out this ground report that my colleague Shiv Arur has filed from line of control to tell you just how much Pakistan has been shelling on the line of control and impacting the civilians living on India. Take a look.
That's his picture as a young commando, and this is Mohammad Nasir Khan now. हवलदार साहब, पहले आपकी सेवा के लिए हमारी तरफ से बहुत धन्यवाद. आपने बहुत साल बिताए फौज में. कल रात क्या हुआ था ये बताएं. आपकी परिवार ने आपने उनको यहाँ से आपने ट्रांसफ़र कर दिया है, तो क्या हुआ था?
रात को तकरीबन 1 बजे से मतलब थोड़ा फायरिंग स्टार्ट हुआ, तो उसमें थोड़ा कम आवाज़ आ रहा था. तकरीबन 2-3 बजे के बाद में बहुत फास्ट हो गया. जब फास्ट हो गया तो हम एक ही बच्चे सोए हुए थे, उनको उठा के हमने साइड में लिया और साइड में लेने के बाद में उनको सेव किया. तो मेरे बच्चों को बोला कि भाई आप ज़मीन पर लेट जाओ, ये जो फायरिंग हो रही है तो इससे बचाव एक ही है कि आप ज़मीन पर लेट जाओ. बच्चों को एक साइड में लेटा दिया और मैं भी साथ में लेट गया. उसके बाद स्टार्ट होगी कार्रवाई यहाँ पे, पूरा जो फायरिंग उन्होंने करनी थी वो कर दी। उसके बाद में इसमें आगे लगा एक गोला एक इस पीछे कैंप में, उसका फ्लैक्शन पीछे आया, ये पूछा पूरा मतलब इसको पुश किया उसने, पूरा मकान हिल गया, ये नीचे से एकदम हिला। तो हमने सोचा ये सब इसी के ऊपर पड़ गया, लेकिन बाहर निकल के देखा तो बाहर लगा था और अंदर ये इसका ये पूरा टूट फूट जितनी भी थी अंदर आ गई थी।
This maroon beret and the special forces means something very, very special in the Indian Army, and I'm actually in a bit of shock that someone like him, who has served in the most dangerous places, in the most dangerous missions, to face something like this from Pakistan during his retirement, endangering his children. This is his beautiful family, his two daughters, who are not here, of course. They've been moved out because of the absolute damage that happened to the house, and they miraculously survived with only minor injuries. But you saw what happened to that bed. They are not here right now. And I just wanted to show you, look at all these certificates of Havildar Khan Sahab. He has served in Sudan as part of the United Nations. That's a picture of him in the Sudan mission. He has this certificate of appreciation from the United Nations. He has won a United Nations medal. He's a UN medal-winning Special Forces Commando of the Indian Army. And here is his certificate. It has fallen off the shelf from the shockwave of what happened. All his military memorabilia still standing here. And it's truly, truly just incredible that someone like him should face it. And here you have pieces of the... Ye tukde hain wo shells ke? These are pictures of the shell itself. Take a look at this. This is what has landed in the humble home of an Indian Army former Special Forces commando. Shrapnel pieces of an artillery shell or a mortar perhaps, that have landed here and damaged his home. आप अपने परिवार को कब वापस लाएंगे? आप कब कॉन्फिडेंट होंगे?
अभी जब तक यहाँ का मतलब बिल्कुल सही नहीं हो जाएगा तब तक बच्चों को दूर रखना पड़ेगा। यहाँ पे बच्चों की ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम है, क्योंकि ये जो शेलिंग का कोई पता नहीं कब स्टार्ट हो जाएगी कब बंद हो जाएगी, इसलिए तब तक बच्चों को दूर रखेंगे जब तक ये सही नहीं हो जाए।
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000, whether it's for home improvements, new appliances, a car, or for some of life's big moments. So even if you've had problems with credit before, Evlo looks beyond your credit score and always takes a case-by-case approach. Visit evlo.co.uk to get your conditional decision in minutes. Evlo, your future in your hands.
Brain really matters. Some people think life slows down in your 50s, but I'm just getting started. And I don't want my lot to have to worry about funeral costs. Let them spend their money on nicer things. So I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call. Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying